Like so many other things, motorcycling was once a male-dominated culture. Women were generally only seen riding as passengers, except for the occasional standout, such as Beryl Swain, Dot Smith, or Gloria Struck, to name a few. As the decades rolled on, more men continued to dominate the headlines, but the women were always there, making and breaking records, despite what the writers of history may have told us. I myself was raised by a woman who had been riding motorcycles since before I was born, and still rides to this day. My mother was a great influence on my love of motorcycling, and she also showed me how brave and audacious women can be, doing much more than simply keeping up with their male counterparts. Thankfully, history has also begun to give way to a voice of equality, allowing women on two wheels to achieve the recognition they deserve, whether it's setting new lap times, building and designing center stage showpieces, or racking up miles on highways both across the US and abroad. On today's episode, we are going to hear from some of those women who have stood out in the crowd and done so with poise, chins held high, no matter what came their way. We'll meet with a local Hudson Valley riding club that shows women can ride just as loud and fast as anyone on the open road. We'll also meet with a local author who captured the spirit of motorcycling in such a dramatic way, her book has been reprinted in multiple languages and sold worldwide. Lastly, we'll be hearing from a fun-loving musician who embodies modern Americana and gives her everything to ensure the pulse and thrill of the music carries on for generations to come. So join us in honoring the women of the American motorcycling experience on The Next Story. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to The Next Story. I'm your host, Justin DeMilan, and I'm here today with the Valkyrie Vixens. Thank you very much for joining me today here.
We are here
on International Female Ride Day, the 18th annual celebration.
Yes.
This is absolutely fantastic. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
So I'm Tanya.
Tanya?
I'm the Sergeant at Arms for our club, or the Valkyrie Vixens.
Excellent.
President Kristen, Vice President Jesse, and we have Jody, our road captain.
Absolutely
she gets us
fantastic.
everywhere safe and sound.
Good. So how did the Valkyrie Vixens come to be?
Well, we were actually part of the Litas, which is another riding group around here.
That we are here with today as well?
Exactly. So we were part of that, and then Kristen wanted to branch out and kind of start her own club, and because we were all so close, we just decided to do it together.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So how many members are there currently?
So we have 6 members. One's prospecting. Right?
We have 6 members.
Seventh is prospecting, yes.
Nice.
So
how many years running are we?
We're on our 4th year.
Nice.
But we've also known each other. I've known Kristen for like 8 or 10 years. Yeah. So she was the only person other female that I knew that rode, and so we rode all the time together, and that's kind of, that's how it happened.
Awesome. Were you guys
Yes.
all with the Litas originally, everyone?
No,
or?
we were riding together first, and then we jumped into the Litas, and we're part of that for a little while. And
we actually met Jody
here. How many years ago now? 4 years ago? 6.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 6 years ago.
Yeah, I was looking for a bunch of girls to ride with, and looked online, found the Litas, got a hold of Jesse, and met up with everybody here at Woodstock Harley, actually, for the very first time.
So now, to be perfectly honest, this is not my immediate introduction to the Valkyrie Vixens, because I did tag along on a costume ride that you did back in October, which was an absolute blast. That was so much fun. And I know that's only the first of many that I'm going to be attending. There was a charity behind that one as well. And I understand you guys do a lot with charity organizations.
We do as much as we can. If there's something out there that we know is going on and someone reaches out to us or we hear about it, we definitely try to participate and run anything we can to help out. We have a lot of, we like to do the animal rescues too, so we have friends involved in the animal rescues, so we'll raise money for that at our events, and it's a good time. It's a good time to do that,
Very cool.
It feels good to back to
Nice.
community. Yeah. We also run scholarship programs. So for any women out there who are thinking about riding and you don't know where to start, you don't know how to get your feet on the ground, sort of say, come meet us and hang out with us, get to know us, and you can apply and possibly be the candidate for the sponsorship, and we will reimburse you after you take your motorcycle safety course. And there's no obligations to being a part of our club or anything like that, because we have so many women out there that say, oh, I wish I could ride, I wish I could do it. Do it. Like, you can do this.
Right.
So we do this every year. We run the scholarship program.
So what do the Valkyrie Vixens do to stay active throughout the winter months?
Well, we meet monthly, whether it's events that we hold, little parties, get-togethers. We're friends, we're not just a club, we're friends, we're sisters, we like to hang out with each other, even us outside the club. It's not just get together because we're a club, we get together because we're friends.
We
Nice.
actually like each other.
And we actually like each other, yes.
Imagine that.
We do.
We
Cool.
get together as much as we can,
Yeah,
even
right.
if it's just to
Keep
grab
it going.
dinner one night.
Yeah. Like you
Nice.
said, in October we do our costume
ride.
ride, and
Yeah.
we find a good day to do a costume ride that ends somewhere, and usually there's a benefit tied to it somehow.
Yeah.
Now, even the winter gatherings, are those benefit related at all, or is that just for the gals to get together and hang
We
out?
have in the past.
sometimes.
It all depends.
So what do you think is in the future for the Valkyrie Vixens?
I mean, really just to grow and encourage women to be strong, independent, get on your bike, ride, have people to have other women to, confide in and have sisterhood.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right,
We
cool.
just met up like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we had
just extended an invitation to women who wanted to come out and meet us, because a lot of times if they're coming out to a bike night, it's hard for us to all always stick together and be able to talk to everybody. So no bikes were involved that night, and everybody just came out, and we had
Hung out?
like maybe
Yeah.
6 women that came out,
Yeah.
just sat down, hung out, talked, got to meet. Some of them are here.
Right.
Um,
We've actually
and,
ridden with a couple of them since we met
Right.
just a
Yeah.
month ago. It's
yeah,
pretty
Very
people
cool.
sometimes they say that they're intimidated to just come and meet us.
Right.
I don't think we're that scary, but
No, I don't know.
I am. I bite.
she might be. But so it was nice that they came out, and they
yeah,
even
that's
said like, I didn't want to go by myself, and my
Right.
sister told me, get out of your car and go
Yeah.
talk to them.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny to
And
hear,
actually, since she's come out, she's been riding with us
Yeah.
all the
Right.
time. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today. She had a prior engagement, but she is very much wants to be a part of our club and the sisterhood.
All right, can we show your patches off for the camera?
Yes, of course.
Awesome.
Do you want fronts? Do you want that?
We want it all.
Want it all?
All right.
Yeah, let's get a look at the big picture here. Awesome. Very, very cool. So who designed this logo?
We kind of worked all together.
Nice. And make no mistake, they do fly when they ride.
We do.
Safely, of course, all the way up to the speed limit. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It was great to meet you all, and I look forward to seeing what is coming from the Valkyrie Vixens in the future.
Yes,
Right.
thank you
Thank you.
very much.
After speaking with the Valkyrie Vixens, I had a fresh feel for the kind of women who are out there keeping the spirit of motorcycling alive and well. To have entire groups of women there to bolster each other, stand up for each other, and take care of each other, both on and off the road, represents the kind of togetherness any motorcycle group can achieve. But it got me thinking about a deeper perspective on such a wonderful machine. I was lucky enough to meet with a woman who wrote one of the most read books in history on the subject. Lucky in the fact that she just so happens to live in the Hudson Valley and was willing to take the time to speak about her book and the dramatic impact it's had. I found Melissa Holbrook Pierson to be a woman with a spirit full of tenacity and a garage full of motorcycles, as well as a strong desire to share her insights into the heart of motorcycling. Grab a seat and settle in for her story.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to The Next Story. I'm your host, Justin De Milan, and I'm here today with Melissa Holbrook Pierson. Melissa, thank you very much for having me.
Great to meet you, Justin.
It's great to meet you as well. You have a wonderful book, and can you tell us the title of that book?
Yes, it's The Perfect Vehicle, which it is, right?
Yes.
We're not no ifs, ands, or buts. But the subtitle is What It Is About Motorcycles. And I was humble enough to think that and I don't know, when I started writing it, maybe I was 26 or something, could explain everything about motorcycles, like why we love them, what they are socially, in our world, what they feel like physically, sensually, the different tribes and factions. And I went to Europe and met that whole crew. But it arose out of falling in love with one very specific motorcycle. It's always that way, right?
Yeah,
it's not
for
like,
sure.
oh, I love all women. No, I love that woman. It's very, it's very particular. And I fell in love with a Moto Guzzi, and it very quickly sort of adhered to me. We became one. And I felt as though it was looking out for me. I could have done a better job of looking out for it, but it was all a big learning curve. And I was so excited by what I was experiencing and seeing and the people I was meeting. And it was like this entire universe just sort of opened up, and I went, oh my God, it's been here all along and I didn't know it. God, how stupid could I be? But I was so excited. I wanted to share that with other people. So that was the impetus for writing that book. And, what is it? 27 years later, it's still in print. People are still finding it, still writing to me from all over the world. It's been published in German, Italian, recently in Spanish, maybe something that I'm forgetting, but, and so readers abroad find it. And because motorcyclists it's like, oh, you ride? Okay, that's all I need to know about you. I already know your character. I already know you're upstanding. I mean, would you ride down the road and there's a motorcycle by the side of the road? You stop,
sure,
right?
Yeah.
You don't do that in a car. People don't do that to other car drivers. But as motorcyclists, it's like, yeah. So these people who have never met me, but I think they feel a little bit like they know me through the book, write and say, if ever you come to England, if ever you come to Australia, if ever you come to Germany, please look me up. I'll give you a bike to ride. We'll go. And I feel like I have thousands of friends now because of that.
It's amazing.
Just a bigger group of friends than I originally had, through riding.
Have you taken anybody up on those offers?
Not really, a few. Like, actually, I went out to Wisconsin because, a librarian there said, hey, we're going to do a reading with your book, and then you can also go on this weird ride that they have there because they're weird in Wisconsin.
I know. I grew up in Wisconsin.
Did you? Okay, so it's called the Slimy Crud Run, and it's just the weirdest, most wonderful, gathering of motorcyclists.
And where in Wisconsin is that?
Where's the university? Madison.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, riding around outside. Incredible riding out there.
Sure.
I had no idea. So that was great. So I went out there and got to ride with a lot of really great people on borrowed machinery. And actually, one of the people I met through doing this is now a really, really tight friend of mine. So
that's fantastic.
That's how it keeps happening. It keeps on rolling, just like our bikes. So,
I love that explanation that you give about that it is, the many tribes, but at the same time, like, we are all part of one tribe as motorcyclists. Like, we connect with this thing where we are so in tune with our machine, and it is a solo act, but the fact that we all understand that about each other.
Exactly. It's sort of like, I think it participates a little bit like in the same thing that bonds soldiers together. Like, you're depending on your mate. You can't, the guy next to you is not just another body, another other. He may be somebody who will save you. And not obviously not as extreme as that when we ride, but we know that we need each other for a whole variety of things. And I like that. I think that dependency feature of riding it feeds an elemental need in human beings. We're social animals.
Sure.
And we feel unsafe when we're isolated, right? So we've, found this thing that brings us together. And we depend on one another and get all the good stuff that we get when we're together in smaller groups with other people.
Now, you fell in love with a Moto Guzzi. I notice we are mostly surrounded by BMWs in here.
Yeah.
Have you been excommunicated from the Moto Guzzi tribe?
I just point over there to the Moto Guzzi that I do have. But different bikes are great for different purposes.
Sure.
So that's the bike when I'm just going to be bombing around the Catskills or whatever. That's the bike I want to be on. It's super fun on little back roads. If I'm riding, say, to New Orleans, which I did a couple of years ago, I want to be on my big bike with the windscreen and the electrics and stuff like that. They're just different flavors of, the experience.
I love New Orleans, one of my favorite cities. How was that ride?
It just amazing. I mean, between here and there, of course, is the whole panoply of beauty that the United States offers. But it was actually the repeat, and I wrote about it in The Perfect Vehicle. I rode there in, I can't remember, it was, probably the late 80s. I wanted to repeat that ride ever since, and it took me 20 years to do it, but, and I've been plenty of other places. I rode,
Sure.
Coast to coast, things like that, but just not to New Orleans. And I so badly wanted to get back there because that city is unlike any place else on earth.
Unquestionably so. Yeah. It is so unique. It's so rich in its own culture.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
You did coast to coast riding.
I did.
So where did you go?
Yeah, that was sort of crazy. When my son was about 10 or 11, I think, I started to hear the words coming out of my own mouth and started questioning myself, because I'd always be saying things like, "Oh, honey, someday I'm going to take you to the Grand Canyon. Someday I'm going to take you to California." And then I went, when is someday? When is someday? Someday has to be now.
Because otherwise, Creedence Clearwater even wrote a song, "Someday Never Comes."
Exactly. You don't know. And I sort of got sick of myself enough to say, I got a friend who was game, and we shipped my son to his cousins in California by plane. We got on bikes. We cranked it out in, I think it was like 4.5 days. So we were really booking it. But then once we got there and picked him up, then we took a really leisurely pace, and we did the coastal highway, and then just sort of meandered back and took 3 weeks seeing a bunch of stuff. Yeah, one of those trips of a lifetime. And I really urge people to, not dream about those places that you want to go. And for me, most of them are places I only want to go on a bike, because that completely transforms the experience. Everything about it, I feel like you get into a place at a deeper level on a motorcycle.
I agree. I was just having this conversation with somebody else about that difference between driving somewhere and riding somewhere, and just the fact that when you're driving somewhere, you're generally going from A to B.
Right.
You're not, wow, look at this. You're not taking everything in, but on a bike, it's the journey, not the destination.
Exactly.
As cliche as that is
to
say.
The car is a utility.
Right.
It's moving my body from, point A to point B. But a motorcycle is it's a fusion, and it heightens all your senses, right? So everything that you see and feel and smell are, they're just bigger, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way I want to, and also just riding into a place on a bike, I think, shows your vulnerability in a way, or your openness, or your your humanness in a way that, you know, like being in a car is like, you know, the distance factor there. In a bike, you're in it. You are it. You are the world.
That is absolutely fantastic. You have such a way with words and your description, and you really put me in that place, and it's fantastic. I can see the writer in you just in conversation.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that happened. It's not. I tell my son, please, whatever you do, don't become a writer. It's not. It's really not fun. It's a hard life. But so everybody has a hard life, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever they choose to do, music, art, whatever, it's tough. But it's just something that I want to share. Somehow or other, some sense of the experience when it's something that's as incredible to me as riding. It's just, I was just so amazed at it, just like, hey, you guys, come over here, look at this. I was sort of like jumping up in the street and going, and people who don't ride and who have never experienced it, well, it's like, what's all the excitement about, because they don't know. And I sort of thought that I was going to explain to them, but guess what? They didn't really want to read that book either. Not only do they not care to ride or understand it, it's like, why am I going to pick up a book about it? A lot of guys have given that book to their girlfriends or their wives. They say, I needed to explain to her. She needs to understand because she doesn't ride and she doesn't understand what it is that I'm doing and why I need to do it. So I gave her your book. You're explaining for me, but I'm not sure. I haven't heard too many success stories about, whether or not that really worked or not. I think, either you're in it or you're not. It's just one of those things. Maybe people who, like gliding or parachuting or, any number of other things, feel the same way. They just can't explain to people who've never done it why they have to do what they have to do.
Yeah. And that, that's probably why there ends up being, so many very cliche statements, it's the freedom, and it's,
right.
I had actually explained in the first episode of the show a bit about that whole thing of freedom and what we mean when we say that, and you realize it is difficult to explain that to somebody what we mean by that. Why is this any more freeing than anything else?
Right. I think it's because I think it's a very, very complex endeavor because it's biology and physics and sensuality, and I think it really goes to something very profoundly human in us, and it brings those things out in us. We're born problem solvers, right?
Right.
Motorcycling presents problems every half second, right? Ultimately, you have to be aware of everything that's going around and how it's, converging with the physics of the bike itself, and how do we make it, do this thing safely. So it's just it really is beyond words. It's just beyond words. I tried, but
Well, with the success you've had with the book and having been translated into so many different languages, it sounds like you did a pretty good job.
At least motorcyclists feel that I did. I mean, and I think there is something that a lot of people responded to in terms of having their experience corroborated. It's like, oh, there is somebody else out there who gets it, and there's a really elemental joy in that, right? In seeing it's I don't know, I'm sure that I could come up with examples with music, or it's like when you meet somebody who loves the exact same songs and bands that you do, you feel
there's
that
a kinship.
Yeah, that they see the world in the same way. Yeah. And so it's like there's a sense of relief too. It's like, I don't have to explain things to you because you already get them.
And and in the same way, a lot of times you can sit there and try and be like, well, I love this song because of this, but it really comes down to the way that it makes you feel, and that's not something that can be explained as well. It's just, here, listen to it.
Exactly.
And see if you get it or not.
Exactly.
Do you have any other books that I don't know about?
Yeah, well, see, there's a funny story about that. I felt as though after I finished The Perfect Vehicle that I had said absolutely everything that I needed or could possibly say. That was my intention, to put everything into that book. And so I thought, okay, that subject is completely behind me. And I went on to write books about completely other subjects and, articles and whatnot about other things. And then I had one of those, little life crises that often we have. And at the time I wasn't writing, and some guy who heard that I wasn't writing thought that was crime, and he kept trying to pull me back into it. And I was pretty resistant because I was just dealing with junk. But when I met him, and then talk about humble, this guy did not, he really didn't tell anybody what he did, but it turned out he was one of the world's top extreme long distance riders. And I went, oh, what is this about? I was sort of only vaguely aware of the Iron Butt Association and people who did these insane rides and blah, blah, blah. And here was one right in front of me. And he just insisted that I get a bike. I have to get a bike. So I went, finally, all right, I'll get a bike. And then I started thinking about what it was he was doing, and you sense a theme here that when I'm doing something, I'm also examining it, like from beside myself or something. And I thought, you know what, maybe there is a subject here that I didn't really get at. And I think that extreme long distance riding, I decided, was something like motorcycling distilled. If you just sat there and boiled it for 24 hours and there was just a drop left out of the bucket, that's what that riding is about. So I decided I would write a book about him and through him explore the whole world. And that's a crazy world, a world within a world of motorcycling that explains a lot about its addictive properties, say, and some other things. And also paralleling that is my own journey back, because motorcycles brought me out of a very dark place. And it was through his insistence. He said, whatever I would say, I've got some problem. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I can't do this. I can't. He'd say, motorcycle's the answer. Motorcycle's the answer. And darned if he wasn't right. And all of a sudden it was like, now I had friends again. Now I had purpose again. Now I had joy again.
Yeah.
And he gave that back to me, and I wrote a book about him.
And what is that book called?
The Man Who Would Stop at Nothing.
Wow, excellent.
Yeah.
And when did that one come out?
That was, gosh, I forget the years of everything. But that was probably 10, 15, that was like 10 or 11 years ago.
Okay,
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So for our viewers, if they want to get a hold of any of your books, where can they do so? Well,
the big place, the big place that starts with A, you can get them there. I prefer people to go to bookshop.org, because their profits go to independent booksellers.
Okay.
So I think that's cool. So
okay, excellent.
That's what you can do.
And do you have a website?
Yes, it's my name.
Okay, excellent.
.com.
And do you want to spell that just in case?
Yeah. All Melissa right. Is Melissa, Holbrook, Holbrook, Pierson, Pierson. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mouthful, but that's what I got.
Well, that is absolutely excellent. Thank you so much for meeting me. This was absolutely wonderful, and I am looking forward to reading your books.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
Having gotten a fairly solid grasp on the world of motorcycling from a woman's perspective, I began to wonder about the creation of that wonderful American backbeat we so often hear pumping from garage speakers as these bikes are being built, repaired, and retuned. One of the Hudson Valley's most well-known monikers is that of Lara Hope, a true force in the musical world, not only for her classic voice and ability to dominate the landscape whenever she takes the stage, but also for her immense contribution to the community as a whole, for artists and appreciators alike. Lara has played with and led some of the area's best musicians, and it would seem is only ramping up to show us what she can really do. So unstrap your boots and put on your dancing shoes and get ready for the next story.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to The Next Story. I'm your host, Justin De Milan, and I'm here today with Lara Hope. How you doing, Lara?
I'm great. It's a beautiful day.
It's fantastic to meet you.
So nice to finally meet you.
You're here in Kingston, New York. How long have you been in Kingston?
Midtown Kingston. I moved to Kingston about 12 years ago. Actually, the day the pandemic hit is when I moved into this house.
Oh, no
We
kidding.
were also supposed to leave for a 6-week tour that same night.
Oh, no.
We were just going to sign the papers, come eat some pizza on the floor, and then hit the road to go on tour with Tiger Army.
Oh, wow.
And literally the day we closed on the house, the tour got canceled and the whole world shut down. But
Now, how did you get through the pandemic as a band?
right away, once that tour got canceled and, all of our shows after that started getting canceled, first I put a call out to our fans online and said, like, hey, we're struggling as are all musicians, so now is a really great time to help support the artists that you like and buy merchandise. And so then we proceeded to live stream every Monday night for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And we built up this following of people from all over the country and sometimes other countries. And we would all get together every Monday at 7 p.m. The coolest part is a lot of these people that didn't know each other but would tune in every Monday, they started chatting and they became friends. And it became
that's
this
awesome.
whole online community. It was called the Monday Nights, like Monday KNIGHTS. And we did
yeah.
branding. There's one of them is Joan of Arc, but she's got the cat eye glasses and we called it Tone of Arc. And we made these shirts and did a whole, all these Monday night merch designs. And then as soon as the weather got better, we were gigging outside again. This was in March, so by July of that year, we were trying to do stuff outside at a cidery or a winery or a brewery where it could be socially distanced outside shows.
Yeah. So now here we are, 2024. How do you feel the pandemic has affected things? Do you feel like things are back to pre-pandemic levels, or do you feel like there's been permanent changes that may always be now?
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever get back to the way we were. I mean, even just for the fact that so many great venues closed during the pandemic, and the world's a different place now. Even people, I think, going out later and staying out later, all the places, even the diners, the diners used to be 24 hours, Walmart used to be 24 hours, there is none of that anymore, at least not what I'm seeing. And I think even the idea of people going out late and staying out late has got scaled back in those few years where people got so used to being home all the time, they're not ready to party.
I feel like it's not in the same way that it used to be. Is the younger generation more locked into the idea of streaming things rather than actually going and seeing things in person? Maybe
that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
I think the younger generation doesn't appreciate a live rock band as much.
And if things were swinging that way for the next generation, I feel like the pandemic kind of helped to reinforce that idea.
Just sitting home and looking at your devices. But there is hope. There are definitely some, one of my good friends' kids that are 16 and 19 are starting a metal band in Albany right now. And they have their first show in a few weeks, and they've been sending me their demos. Where we live in the Northeast is not the best part of the country for the type of music that we are into, in my opinion. If we were living in California and playing, the shows would be packed. Even if we were living in parts of North Carolina or Tennessee or Austin, it's just the Hudson Valley is interesting. I feel like it's not it's not so much of like a scene or like a niche as much as it is people are just music appreciators, and which I think is both good and bad. You know, like people go, I think they go out to just see whatever. It's not like the rockabilly scene is big or like the metal scene is big. It's just.
But it's very eclectic.
Yeah.
There's definitely, I got to agree with you on that. You know, it does seem like the rockabilly scene is more of a, you know, when the sun is shining kind of a thing, you know, so good in places like California and Vegas and things like that. And yeah, probably not as much in, you know, Seattle or the Hudson Valley, you know.
And it's good and bad, you know, it's been nice to not be one of a million bands that sounds like this around here. But that's why we tour, you know?
Yeah. So how did you get your start into the music industry?
I always sang, like growing up, since I was, you know, since I can remember. I did like community theater as a kid with my mom. And then, you know, I kind of knew once I got into college, would like to start a band. And part of the reason I went to SUNY New Paltz is because my best friend from high school, who was a year older than me, went there. And I was like, we can start a band together if I go to New Paltz. And so, you know, we started a kind of like a pop rock band. It was, you know, like the bug bit me. I mean, as soon as the first time I played a song where there was a drummer behind me and it just like felt like a band, that was it, you know? So we gigged a bunch for a few years in that band. It was called the Red Hopes. It was an all-girl band.
Nice.
And then like after that, you know, after a few years kind of fizzled out, and then Tiger Piss started and, you know, played in Tiger Piss for like 10 years. I got approached by someone I didn't know that was just like, hey, I saw you out with Tiger Piss and I'm looking to put together like a roots rockabilly project and we're looking for a singer. I already have a drummer and a bass player. Would you be interested in coming over and like seeing how it feels? You know, they introduced me to like kind of a whole new world of music and we started playing out together, and it was a very different experience for me than all of the like harder rock stuff I had done. Both like a different experience as a performer and a different experience, the types of places we could play and the way I saw like the reaction I got from the audience.
What is the name of the group?
That was Lara Hope and the Champtones.
Oh, okay.
Champtone is, so my friend Jeff Cadlick, who is the guitar player, he's a luthier and he builds custom Telecasters under the name Champtone Guitars.
Nice.
So when that band disbanded, like I obviously couldn't keep that name because that's his business name.
Gotcha.
And so this is probably back in 2012. And I had like just befriended Matt at that point, who's the bass player of the Arctones, and he was in a psychobilly band called the Arkhams. The Champtones kind of disbanded because everybody moved, just like everybody moved out of the Hudson Valley kind of at the same time. And I had all these shows lined up and I was like, fuck man, I have no band. You know, I had just done a tour with the Arkhams and Tiger Piss. And I said to Matt, like, you think you and your band could back me up for the summer? Like, I've got all these gigs already booked and I need a band. Like, can we get the Arkhams to do it? So they did. And then, you know, we just called it the Arctones because it was like the Arkhams and the Champtones. And
so you've also got a two-piece project you've been doing?
Yeah. So Matt and I also play as a duo called the Gold Hope Duo. Okay. He's Matt Goldpaw, Lara Hope. And that's been nice because, you know, it gives us opportunities to play in different places than the full band. Okay. And for, I guess, to circle back to your question about the way the pandemic changed things, for 10 years prior to the pandemic, that's what Matt and I did full time. We just played music and toured and played locally. And so having the duo let us fill the gaps where the full band didn't have gigs and let us play at places like restaurants and breweries and spots that were smaller or spots that like didn't want a full drum kit or, you know, whatever. And I got the job doing as the music director, the co-music director for the O Positive Festival, which O Positive is a nonprofit organization started in Kingston. This will be the 15th year. And to sum it up, it's art and music in exchange for healthcare. So basically, we've thrown this big 3-day festival throughout the city of Kingston, every Indigenous Peoples Weekend. And all of the artists and musicians that come and perform are doing it in exchange for healthcare services, which they have historically gotten during the weekend. Like we set up a pop-up clinic in the Old Dutch Church. That's where it's been for the past few years. You know, our dream for years has been like, how do we take this 3 days of care and make it year round? So just in the past few months, we are actualizing that, and we...
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we just rented a space. It's across from Keegan Ailes parking lot behind Camp Kingston. and we onboarded a primary care physician, and we got our license, and we're now able to start seeing people year-round for primary care and for other complementary care services. So that's available to all the alums of the festival. So if you've ever played the festival over these past 14 years or created a mural or whatever, now you have access. You're like, I can't get into a primary care physician. I need a blood work. I need to just have a consultation. I need a yearly checkup. Like, now we can give you that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is absolutely awesome.
It's cool, and O Positive's great too because it's like non-genre specific. You know, we have the past few years we had about 50 bands. We'll probably have about 50 bands this year, and it's like every genre, no matter what you like. If you're into like hip hop or metal or country or punk or classical, like we'll have something for everybody.
For our viewers, if they want to be able to listen to your music and catch when your next gigs are coming up, where's a good place for them to be able to do so?
This is easy. Go to Lara Hope, that's LARA.net, LaraHope.net, and then all our shows are listed there, and you can go to the links to our music videos and our Spotify and our Facebook and everything right from there, and join the mailing list. That's the best way to know what's going on. You should join it too.
I'll join it.
Yeah, just sign up for the mailing list, and I'll only send out like one email every 10 or 12 minutes. Just kidding. Like one a month. I'll let you know what's going on.
So I understand you've got a music video you want to show us as well?
Yeah. We'll pick one. We've got lots of good ones.
All right, cool.
Go on our YouTube and check out all the videos.
Oh, fantastic. So we're going to show one of Lara Hope's music videos.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.